All right, so we're looking at the rest of, we started in Matthew 9, and we're going to finish up that chapter today. The last thing that we heard last week is that Jesus had called Matthew, the tax collector, to come follow me. And so now we're going to continue with that account. So let's listen to the reading of the word.
While Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. When the Pharisees saw this, they asked his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" On hearing this, Jesus said, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. For I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners." Then John's disciples came and asked him, "How is it that we and the Pharisees fast often, but your disciples do not fast?" Jesus answered, "How can the guests of the bridegroom mourn while he is with them? The time will come when the bridegroom will be taken from them, then they will fast. No one sews a patch of unshrunk cloth on an old garment, for the patch will pull away from the garment, making the tear worse. Neither do people pour new wine into old wineskins. If they do, the skins will burst, the wine will run out, and the wineskins will be ruined. No, they pour new wine into new wineskins, and both are preserved." While he was saying this, a synagogue leader came and knelt before him and said, "My daughter has just died, but come and put your hand on her, and she will live." Jesus got up and went with him, and so did his disciples. When Jesus entered the synagogue leader's house and saw the noisy crowd and people playing pipes, he said, "Go away, the girl is not dead, but asleep." But they laughed at him. After the crowd had been put outside, he went in and took the girl by the hand, and she got up. News of this spread through all that region.
Wow. I was at a play one time and I was that girl.
The one that died?
Yeah, I was the one that died and got up.
Oh, okay.
Many years ago.
Metaphorically, or you literally died and got up?
No, I didn't really die.
Okay. Well, hey, it's awfully dark in here now, isn't it? Whoever turned off the lights, great job. Look, Joyce has got her flashlight on in the back so she can read. All right, so when we look at these verses, it is helpful sometimes to go back and look at the original language, because sometimes the English word that's picked doesn't give you the full picture of what's being described. And so when we look at that first, when this chapter, verse 10, and it says, they're at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. And we're like, well, we're all sinners, right? And so is this everybody else? What are we talking about here when we see the word sinners? And so the Greek word for that actually means people that are devoted to sin. And actually the word stained is in the definition, stained with certain vices and crimes. So these are not we talked about, there was a quote from last week or 2 weeks ago that said, a believer is someone that sin clings to, whereas a non-believer is someone who clings to sin. So these are the people who cling to sin. These are not people that are just casual sinners like the rest of us, right? We just do it on a whim. So that's what they're talking about here. These are the people that we're talking about. And so then the Pharisees asked the question to his disciples, why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners? A very, very pious question, right? There's an underlying meaning behind that question. It wasn't just an innocent, hey, why are these people here? It's, why does he hang out with this crowd? This is a rabbi. This doesn't make sense. This breaks from tradition. He's probably unclean at this point. What is going on? And I saw an interesting quote A gentleman's name is Henry Drummond. He was an evangelist back in Scotland. And he had an interesting question. He says, how many prodigals are kept out of the kingdom of God by those unlovely characters who profess to be inside? Yeah. So just let that soak in for a little bit. See if that applies to you at all in any certain situations. Yeah, that was when I saw that quote, and I was like, oh wow, how many times have I made Christianity look bad by just saying something stupid in the moment, right? So that's something to be very mindful of. But then, as I've said before, when I'm reading these accounts that I read, so many times since I was a little kid on up, I'm always trying to look at it differently. Is there anything that jumps out at me for the first time? And one thing did, and that was the fact this phrase that gets repeated both in 10 and 11. Many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. And then the Pharisees asked, why do your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners? And I was just thinking, there's no research. There's nothing that I read that says what I'm about to say is the truth. I'm just saying this is kind of what came to my mind. And that is, think about, this is the book of Matthew, written by Matthew, a tax collector, right? So he's tax collectors was in that group of people that the rest of society didn't care for, because they're there to take money from their fellow people to give to the Roman government that they don't want there. So this middleman no one likes. And so when you're an outcast of society, who do you gravitate to? Who do you make friends with? Other outcasts. That's exactly right. And so I got to thinking, if the Pharisees hadn't made this statement and defining these people as tax collectors and sinners, and Matthew was just writing this account like a diary, I just wondered if maybe he would have said, Jesus was having dinner with many of my friends, right? I just wonder if it would have been written differently if he hadn't been planted this notion of what these people are. And I think about that sometimes, as how often do we let other people's words shape our opinions of someone? I haven't even met them yet, but I've already been told, you don't want to hang around this person. So I've already put up a wall. They got one shot and I'm out of here. They better be good, or I don't care about them anymore. Instead of just a very blank, here's a blank slate. Let's get to know each other, and let's see if we can be friends, if we can have a relationship. And it's just so hard to not let people's opinions of others shape what we think about them. But it's so important that we don't. I mean, there are situations where that person, if they're doing things that are unlawful, then you want to warn somebody, hey, you probably ought to stay away. But if it's just an opinion about their character, well, go in there with an open mind and see if you agree with that, and maybe you can convince this other person, no, you ought to see there's a good side deep down inside. You're not allowing yourself to dig in and see it. And I just think that's so important. And I thought about that. Kimberly has complained about herself a few times. She's like, I've been a speech pathologist for over 30 years, and if I have an opinion about a certain treatment and someone has a different opinion about a certain treatment, then I start to question my judgment, right? Even though I've been doing this 15 years longer than that person has, but they said something different, so now I'm not sure about myself. And I just think about that. Is that a fair assessment? Yeah, so I just think about that with our interactions with the sinners, right? Just not allowing others to shape our opinion about someone before we have a chance to find out who they really are. I just think is so important. And then the second thing I would note, and I think about Jenny when I think about this, but while Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house, many of my friends, tax collectors and sinners, ate with him and his disciples. And the thought evangelism through hospitality came to my mind. And how many times can you talk to someone about Jesus after you've been hospitable to them? And what a huge door that opens in being able to engage somebody about the gospel versus just a cold call. Hey, let me tell you about the Bible. Let me tell you about Jesus. Well, I'd like to listen right now, but I'm hungry, and I haven't had a good friend in years. Would you be my friend first, and then maybe I'll listen, right? So hospitality has such a key role in evangelism, and we're seeing it right here firsthand. Matthew, the tax collector.
Or just kindness when people aren't expecting.
Kindness when people aren't expecting it.
I had a guy flag me down on a call here a while back. I walked up, started to speak to him. Can I help you? Yeah, I don't know if you remember me, but last year when you took me to jail, I'm serious, he said, I just want you to know after I got out, I went to a rehab. I'm back in church. My wife and I are doing amazing. I'm playing music again. And it's all because of what you said to me on the way to jail.
Nice.
Because when I went, I found him overdosed in a wreck, sent him to the hospital, and then had to go get warrants for the drugs and everything else.
Right.
When I picked him up, I told him, hey, be good. I'll make going to jail as nice an experience as it can be. And we talked on the way to jail. He talked a little about his life, and it was like, hey, you're still young. It's not too late to turn around and totally change your life, and and so it's but it was that unexpected kindness where expected harshness that those words got
exactly right.
And so that's the things you can do when you show somebody some kindness when they're expecting. That gets their attention, and then they go, hey, there's something different about you. What is it? Well, let me tell you what's different about me.
Yeah.
I used to be just like you. Might not have made it that far, but I was no different than you. But for the grace of God, I'd be right where you are today instead of sitting over here on this side.
Right. That's exactly right. Thank you so much. Yeah.
God, one of my prayers I pray quite often is, God, help me not lose too many because of what I say.
Too many what?
Too many people.
Yeah.
Because of what I say.
Because of what you say. No, you're exactly right. If we can get our flesh out of the way, we can do some great things. On hearing this, Jesus said, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice, for I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners." I think that's really cool because he's talking to the Pharisees who by all accounts, besides all these rituals that they go through, they study the Word, they study the what we now call the Old Testament, and so when Jesus says, when he says, "Hey, go learn what this means. I desire mercy, not grace." That's coming straight out of Hosea. That's chapter 6, verse 6, and he's like, apparently you guys have read this thing 1,000 times and you still don't get it. So just go study it, would you? You could just kind of almost feel a little bit of exasperation there. Would you just go learn? Stop just reading and being pious. Would you actually learn something? It's kind of the feeling I get there. And so when I read that, I desire mercy, not sacrifice. I'm like, okay, but what? I could assign all kinds of definitions to that, and what in the world does that really mean? Because we read sacrifice. Sacrifice seems we're supposed to sacrifice our own will in pursuit of God. So what sacrifice sometimes is a good thing, or the English word for sacrifice can be used in a good way, a healthy way. So why does he say, "I desire mercy, not sacrifice"? And I don't know if I'm giving this is completely accurate, but when I dove into mercy and I dove into sacrifice, and it's like, here's the root word of that Greek word, what I got was, I desire those who show kindness towards victims of society and not those who play the victim. And the Pharisees were very good at that, right? That from what we've been told, they were very good at letting the public know just how important they were, and I'm fasting again today, and all this kind of stuff. And so that's what it seems like Jesus telling them. I don't quote me as saying, "Oh, now Todd finally told us what Jesus meant." I don't know if that's the perfect definition of what Hosea 6:6 is, But that's what I pulled out of it, going back to the original Hebrew.
And God said the sacrifices of God is a broken and contrite heart.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the real sacrifices.
Those are the real sacrifices. Yeah, broken and contrite heart. You're exactly right. We laugh at the Pharisees by all the things that, okay, you got the Mosaic Law, and then you just poured thousands of pages on top of that, kind of like a bill going through Congress, right? We got to pass it before we can read it. That's stupid stuff like that, right? But we kind of do the same thing, and I think in a different way. We find ways to make Christianity complicated when it's not, and it doesn't need to be. This in the second part of 13, for I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners. And again, when you first read that, you're like, it sounds like he's saying, hey, Pharisees, you got your act together. I'm working with these people, right? Well, the righteous is really more self-righteous than a true spiritual righteousness. And so I kind of read it as, for I have not come to call the ones who think they're all that, but for sinners. Yeah, right? That's what he's really saying there when he's talking to the Pharisees. Matthew Henry had a good quote. Christ came not with an expectation of succeeding among the righteous, those who will sooner be sick of their Savior than sick of their sins. Oof. Yeah, that kind of makes you shudder a little bit. What category am I in? Right? There are probably days when I'm like, stop. I like what I'm doing, right? Stop making me feel bad. Yeah, and so that's what Matthew Henry is saying about these folks. So just before we go away from these verses, any thoughts about what we've read so far? Additional thoughts? We've already had good conversation, but anything additional before I move on? All right. So then we start with verse 14. Then John's disciples came and asked him, how is it that we and the Pharisees fast often, but your disciples do not fast? And I found another very interesting, this is something that I hadn't put together between verse 11 and 14 until I read Matthew Henry. This is what he brought to light. The quarrel with Christ was brought to the disciples, and then the quarrel with disciples was brought to Christ. This is the way of sowing discord and killing love, to set people against ministers and ministers against people. That's very powerful. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to leave it at that. Let that soak in, and just how careful we have to be about speaking something, even though we feel like it's honest and it needs to be said. Sometimes you end up pushing the little snowball down the hill that grows into something huge by the time it hits the bottom. So we just need to be mindful of how we speak about others, and especially within the church body, how we speak about the ministry of the church. If it's really off the rails, somebody needs to know and we need to correct it. But if it's just, I don't like the way that's done, then let's rethink about how many people we're going to say, I don't like the way this is done. I don't like the way this is done. I don't like the way, you like the way this is done? We got to be careful we're not gossiping about our opinion of what the church does. We really got to be careful about that. Jesus answered, how can the guests of the bridegroom mourn while he's with them? The time will come when the bridegroom will be taken from them, and then they will fast. So what I read here was, with the Mosaic Law, there was a call for the Day of Atonement became a day of fasting. And so from what we see is God called the people, there's one day that's really, this Day of Atonement is when you got to set yourself and fast and pray and all this and get your life right with God again. And over time, this evolved into twice a week. The Pharisees fasted. And so they don't understand why your people don't do what we do, because we've decided that fasting twice a week is important. Why don't your people do that? And I thought it was I read, I can't remember who I read this with, but they made a good point. Because if I was Jesus and I recognize, okay, yeah, you fast twice a week, but that you were never intended to fast twice a week. This is just something you put upon yourselves. It would be so easy. I wrote this in my notes. Jesus' response is the best because he explains the reasoning behind his disciples' actions instead of saying, well, because you're stupid. It'd be so easy to say, what you're doing is dumb. But if we push that aside and say, well, let me tell you why I'm doing what I'm doing, instead of railing on what you're doing that I don't agree with, then that sets a different tone. Now you can continue the conversation versus, okay, you just called me out, I'm done here. But Jesus made the point, okay, right now, while I'm here on the earth, it's a short time, we're going to party, we're going to celebrate, we're going to enjoy life together. When I'm gone, yeah, there's going to be a time to fast. But right now, this is a wedding party, and we're going to celebrate my arrival. So I think that's just such a cool answer. And then we got these next two verses, which as a kid, I'm just like, I really have no idea where Jesus was going with this. No one sews a patch on of unshrunken cloth on an old garment, for the patch will pull away from the garment, making the tear worse. Okay, I don't know what that has to do with fasting, but all right. Neither do people pour new wine into old wineskins. If they do, the skins will burst, and the wine will run out, and the wineskins will be ruined. No, they pour new wine into new wineskins, and both are preserved. Okay, what in the world does that just have to do with what we just asked you about fasting and your response? Well, it's then, over time, it's become more obvious that in these two verses, Jesus is saying, look, what you're doing was not necessarily the way it was my Father intended it to be done back in the beginning, but I'm not going to tell you what you're doing is 100% wrong, because there's some honesty behind it, but we're about to do things different. We've got a new covenant coming down the road, and it's going to be different. And I cannot take what I'm doing and put it on top of what you do and make this work, because it's going to shred you. Trying to fit me into you is going to shred you, and trying to pour what I'm getting ready to do into what you've always done, you're going to burst. You're not going to be able to handle this. So I appreciate what you're saying. We're doing something different, and we're just going to keep it like that. That's pretty much what Jesus is saying right there. In the Leader's Guide, it said, trying to incorporate the old trappings of ritualistic religion with the fresh spirit of Christ damages both. In some ways, John's disciples had been trying to follow the teachings of John while clinging to the rituals of the scribes and the Pharisees. They didn't yet comprehend the totally new relationship with God that Jesus made possible. So this is a question that was in the book that I think is worth discussing. What does Jesus offer that religion does not?
Salvation.
Salvation, all right. That's the big one. There's step one.
Love, forgiveness.
Love and forgiveness, a relationship. Yeah, exactly right.
That's true.
How many times have we seen our kids, especially when they're little or even as teenagers, trying to be nice to you? They see the relationship has been damaged by something they've done. And instead of asking for forgiveness and can you help me get out of this rut that I'm in, it's just, I think mom would like it if I bought her flowers, right? And I think dad would like it if I went and washed the car. And so we do things to make our daddy happy, right? Instead of let's get the relationship right and make that a deep thing. And so that's definitely a difference between Jesus and a religion. Anything else?
Salvation through grace by faith.
Mm-hmm.
God's free Jesus came to reconcile us with the Father. We are his righteousness.
We are his righteousness. Mm-hmm.
I used to tell my students that religion is what men come up with to control the actions of other men.
To control the actions of other men.
Yeah.
Do
Interesting.
this, you gotta do that, don't do this. Don't do that. That's not faith. That's not the relationship with Christ.
Right.
You could change that to what do parents offer that schools do not?
Oh, what do parents offer that schools do not? Do you have an opinion about that, John?
Well, just that a personal relationship that exists between parent and child.
Right.
An institution like a school trying to treat everybody with a purpose, you can't match that parental relationship.
Right. That's
And that's
exactly
what
right.
Jesus offers, that personal relationship that religion just does not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's unfortunate that the phrase "it takes a village" has been accosted and used incorrectly, because it sounds like the village takes over in place of the parents, but it's really the village supports what the parents are trying to do. And yeah, it's a totally different mindset. That's exactly right. All right, so while he was saying this, a synagogue leader, which is very interesting, a synagogue leader came and knelt before him and said, "My daughter has just died, but come and put your hand on her and she will live." Jesus got up and went with him, and so did his disciples. And this was another one of those, kind of quivering moments. In the leader, there was just a very simple phrase in the leader's guide. It may have been the student guide too. It said, "Jesus never saw people as interruptions." Oof. Well, I sure do, because I got my agenda, right? I got you on Thursday. Jesus never saw people as interruptions. Oh gosh, that's such a strong phrase right there. Jesus entered the synagogue leader's house and saw the noisy crowd and people playing pipes.
They must have been dancing too if they were playing pipes.
And he said, "Go away. The girl is not dead but asleep." But they laughed at him. And it sounds so, you read "go away," it's like, well, that's, what? You're about ready to perform this amazing miracle. Why are you telling these people, get out of here? Well, I realize it's because in the culture back then, this may not have been 100% of the people that he said go away, but most of these people, in the culture back then, if someone dies, you pay people to mourn for them in order to establish some sort of, this must have been somebody very important because we have people mourning for them. And so the mourning was not something hushed and quiet like we do today. It was very loud. You wailed, you cried, and people played. There were songs of mourning that were played. And so when Jesus says go away, he's just telling these paid performers, it's not time. You collect your money later, but we're not doing it right now. Yes?
It could be unbelievers. Go away, unbelievers. What I'm about to do, go away. I don't want this unbelief in the room.
Well, that's a good thought.
Todd, one of the things I always noticed about this story and the story of the centurion that had a child ready to die,
Right.
Jesus didn't go with the centurion. He sent him and said he's going to be all right. But he went with this guy. And I think the difference is this guy was a synagogue leader. He knew the trappings of religion. The other guy just had faith. And I think that's why he handled things differently.
That's interesting. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, thank you.
This one also asked him to come, and the centurion said, "Oh, I'm not even worthy for you to come under my."
Yeah, you're right. Just say the
You've
word.
got authority, and I know, being a man of authority, that if you just say the word, it'll be done.
That's right.
That's right.
And so
That's exactly right. Some of it was
he fed into that faith that he displayed.
right. Yeah, right. I think you're both saying the same thing. That Jesus always made sure his ministry ran parallel with what the people were used to, so they could see the old versus the new, right? And I'm familiar with authority, and I know that if I speak to my men, they'll do it. You're a man of authority. You obviously have authority over sickness and abnormalities and even death. So just speak it, and it'll be done.
That's exactly right. I think the centurion knew what was gonna happen,
Right.
whereas this other guy just wanted to test it and see.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Maybe it was,
Could you do this?
could you do it? Come to my house. Interesting. Interesting. I mean, that,
If you lay, I know if you lay.
say that again?
If God laid the hand on the girl,
Uh-huh.
she will be healed. So I think that's some sort of thing. I don't know.
Put your hand on her. Yeah, right.
Tom, I think it's interesting, it says, because they took the girl by the hand and she got up and then the news of that spread. He didn't say, don't go tell anybody what just happened here, like he did in some of the other ones.
Uh-huh.
But, yeah. So he was revealing more of himself.
He was starting, right.
I'm not sure about, the methods there, but one thing that Jesus did was to show compassion for the people.
Mm-hmm.
I think he came because he brought with him the kingdom of heaven to earth. And he was doing all this preaching and teaching and miracles, demonstrating the power of the kingdom with his people. And because of his mercy and compassion, he didn't reject anyone
Mm-hmm.
when they asked of him.
Right. That's exactly right. I got a short segment, just a couple minutes. I mean, this guy Skip Heitzig, I can't get enough of him. And what I really appreciate about him is it seems like he's spent quality time researching and developing what he says, because all he has is the Bible in front of him, and he just speaks from his mind and from his heart. And so he's just going to address the whole idea of death and mourning and this particular account. So I just thought it was worth listening to hear what he had to say.
When Jesus came to the ruler's house, Jairus' house, and saw the flute players and the noisy wailing, funerals 2,000 years ago were not somber events where you walk into a mortuary and as soon as you walk in you hear the organ going, and people coming up to you going, hello. None of that. People were loud. It was a noisy affair. They were vociferous. And it was customary to hire professional mourners who would make a big cry. So if you're in the vicinity, you hear loud yelling, loud commotion, and they would bring musicians in who would play this doleful kind of minor key music, but it was loud enough, and it set the tone for everybody to make a huge to-do. It was a very noisy, oh, so he comes, oh, and listen to what Jesus says. He said to them, make room, like move over, for the girl is not dead, but sleeping. And they ridiculed him. But when the crowd was put outside, he went in and took her by the hand, and the girl arose, and this report went into all that land. Now, when Jesus said she's not dead, she's asleep, understand, it's not that like Jesus was not knowledgeable. This was not a misdiagnosis. It's not like Jesus said, she's asleep, and Peter go, no, she's dead. I mean, she's dead. It's not like a mistake he made. When Jesus said she was asleep, he was saying she is asleep, just like Jesus said about Lazarus, our friend Lazarus is sleeping, I need to go wake him up. And the disciples said, well, if he's sleeping, he'll get better. And then Jesus said, Lazarus is dead. I'm speaking metaphorically, guys. When he says it here, he's speaking metaphorically. Remember in the book of Acts, Stephen was pummeled with stones, and it says he finally fell asleep. That is, he died. In the Old Testament, when people died, it said, and they slept with their fathers. It's a metaphor for dying. Why is it used? Simply because when a person goes to sleep, they wake up. It's temporary. When I was a kid, my mom would say, it's time for your nap. I hated it. I hated it. I hated naps. And my first day of kindergarten, I was a crybaby in kindergarten. I think I cried more in kindergarten my first day than any girl in my class. I was the biggest baby in kindergarten. And what I cried mostly over is nap. I don't want to take a nap. I just cried like, I was just a big baby. And I got ridiculed for it. When you get older, and somebody suggests a nap to you, you see it differently. It's not punishment, it's a reward. It's something you are eager to take. Yeah, I'm all about a nap, man. Just give me a quick little power nap, I'll be set. We love them. We're not afraid of them. I was afraid of them as a child. Didn't know if I was going to wake up, perhaps. What Jesus is saying is simply, you don't need to worry about death any more than you need to worry about taking a nap. You'll get up again. There's a resurrection. To say somebody is sleeping is to say there's going to be a resurrection. Now, in this case, it was a physical resurrection. In your case, it's going to be a physical resurrection. I was throwing you off on purpose. When you die, eventually the body that died will be resurrected in glory. So it is proper for a Christian, when a Christian dies, to say, he fell asleep. The word cemetery means sleeping place. It's aptly named. But I guarantee you, every cemetery in the world will one day be very, very noisy. As they get up again, Daniel said, some to everlasting shame and some to everlasting life.
All right, any thoughts before we close?
What is his name again?
Skip, it's HIET.